You are now tuned in to Decadent Conversations. I'm your host, Shay Butter.
And I'm Brown Sugar.
We appreciate you coming back. Welcome back.
Glad to
All
have
right.
everybody.
Yeah, all
Glad
of
to
that
have
stuff too. We
everybody
we
back.
glad y'all here. um, Before we get started, I just want to shout out the squad. Thank you, ATOC. That's my crew for joining us today. The few members that are here, I appreciate your support. Got my bestie on the soundboard. Got IT Trey recording this production. My girl Cherry right here with me. My sister's in the back. My bro in the back too. Thank you for coming.
And
This is
also,
gonna get a little.
I was just going to say thank you for the people who've been tuning in. I've been watching the numbers on YouTube, and it's up there. It's up there, and I appreciate the support for those people who subscribe and watch our podcast every week. I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
All right, so I'm
Okay,
gonna
we're
just
gonna
jump
hop
right
up.
in.
Yeah.
We hopping. We both trying to jump in. I just wanna. I wanna get this topic out the way because it is a little heavy. Before we start talking about other things that are not as significant. Um, as many of you know, there was a massacre in Buffalo, New York. Um, there was this white guy that shot up a grocery store. He planned this attack. He filmed it. I think he planned it 2 months ahead of time.
Hmm.
Uh, he watched the premises. Uh, took I might get the numbers right, but I think he killed 10 to 12 people. I don't know the exact
Yes.
number.
Hmm.
And they even show him on the video about to kill a white guy, and then he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and lets the
Mm.
white guy go. So this was a planned attack. I'm still real uneasy about it because it seems like we it seems like sometimes we just can't win. Like we already have other shit that we facing and dealing with us, but then when we have another race of people that are not so friendly towards us, it's uneasy. It's scary. Um, Especially me being a single black woman, even if I was in a relationship, I still probably would be scared because you don't want to fear for your life when you leave your house. At the grocery store, why would
Yeah.
you have to worry about getting shot at the grocery store? It's the grocery store. You ain't riding down
Right.
the streets gang banging. You ain't getting a dub or an eighth from your local drug dealer. You know what I mean? You're going to the fucking grocery store with your family or by yourself. You shouldn't have to worry about losing your life.
Right. And then, you still have to be careful of how you move. I had a situation years ago. I'll never forget this situation, but I went on a champagne cruise with the guy that I was dating. We came off the champagne cruise. We were in a city that was predominantly white. We had made friends I make friends with everyone. So we made friends on this cruise ship, and we were all heading back to our cars. I hear the guys in the distance saying the N word. The guy that's with me, I don't want to tell him what I hear because I'm hoping that we get to the car first. But I might have to tell him. The reason I didn't want to tell him because, he was gangster, So if I tell him what's happening, if I tell him what's happening, then I was worried that he was going to do something that would cause us to end up in more of a situation, right? So I'm trying to hurry up and get to the car. So they're approaching really fast. It's multiple ones. Clearly, there's some type of skinheads. So I said, babe, some skinheads coming. They're approaching. He's into me, so he's not paying attention. So when I say that, he turns around. I'm thinking like we both gonna have to fight. you know. And so long story short, one of the guys come up really fast. He knocks the guy out. So when his friends see how his friend that their friend was knocked out cold, they start changing the narrative and saying, well, we were trying to tell him no, don't approach. We were trying to tell him no, don't approach. But that really wasn't it. They were scared at that point. So, but I tell this story because my concern was, let's hurry up and get to the car, even though we were victims. Because if the police come, they're going to be concerned about, you guys are not from here. These guys are local. So, chances are they look at them the way they look at their own son. So not only we can't even, take the same precautions that, so if we see something suspicious or something that's not right, we don't even have the assurance that we can be protected in that way. But that young man that massacred those 10 people, they, they took him into custody with no incident. And every time we have these situations, we have to be concerned about that. We can't have weapons even if we live in a state that allows it with the proper permits, because then we're um we have a threat of something happening to us for having weapons in the car, even if it's legal. So it's kind of a sad situation. um Prayers goes out to the family and the
Yes,
community
yes,
that took
definitely.
place in. And
My heart
hopefully
to the
that
family.
hopefully, I know people say, violence not the answer and all that stuff, but hopefully he gets executed.
I don't
So
know. Sometimes violence is the answer, to be
I
honest
I
with you.
agree. I'm not
And
one of those people.
I'm getting sick and tired. First of all, I don't like any of these killings, but my other issue with the situation is, if a black person was to do this,
Mhm.
you might as well lock them up and throw away the key.
Mhm.
We already know what the outcome's going to be.
Mhm.
Put a black man who is the same age as this white man, let him commit the same crime, and America would not be screaming mental illness like they're
Right.
screaming mental illness for him. This was
Oh, they're already
premeditated.
starting with that narrative.
Yes.
They're showing the high school pictures when he played soccer.
You know how they do. They probably went and took him to get a burger after when he was
Oh
arrested.
yeah. Right. Right. Like, oh boy, they stopped
So
at Burger King.
none of it is right. If
Mhm.
anybody kills anybody, unless it's self defense, none of it is right. But I feel
Mhm.
like all races need to be treated the same. And it's sad that in 2022, we're still racially divided. And I don't think that's going to change in my lifetime at all.
Well, this brings me to the next topic that came in the news, and that's about abortion rights. So, no matter what side you fall when it comes to abortion rights, um, the Oklahoma's um, laws regarding it is so extreme. One of the things that I read regarding Oklahoma was that if you even go to another state and have an abortion, that um you can go to jail for that. Your neighbor can report you for having an abortion. Your neighbor can report you for having an abortion. If you intend to have an abortion, but you don't go through with it, that's still a crime. You can sue someone for having an abortion, even if they have nothing to do with you. And if it's a situation where the woman could die if she has birth, or if it's incest, or as a result of rape, you have to go to the police department and file a case. You have to file paperwork stating that's why and have evidence for those things. So for me, if you're pro life or you're pro choice, either way, those are like extreme cases. And it makes me wonder, to what extent is it going to go? Like, when it comes to like reproductive rights. Like, I have my views on it, and it's probably, not the same as everyone else, but I still feel like that is just like too far. It's too far. It's just too far. And I believe, this is my theory, I believe the reason why these types of laws are being enforced so strictly and strongly, especially in states like Oklahoma or predominantly white states, is because the white population is decreasing and the world is browning. And white Americans are scared about that. They're scared about that happening because I
They always
believe
scared of black. They always scared of black.
they I believe
Be
that
scared of
the
yourself.
ones, right. But as I said, it's not all white people, but the ones that are concerned, I believe they're concerned because they think that we're going to do to them what they did to us when they were in a position of power. So that's the concern. So there's this fear because if you think about it, there's no reason to fear in general. There's no reason to fear black people. It's illogical. From a historical standpoint, we're not the ones shooting up movie theaters and slavery. It's not us, so it's illogical. I think D.L. Hughley said it best. The worst place for a black person to live is in a white person's mind because they
Hmm.
make up these stories. I have more to fear. So, we got a little heavy today, but we have to talk about these things because they impact everybody, not just us. It impacts everyone because what kind of world do we want to live in? And you have to ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to live in?
Well, I don't think any man should be making decisions about a woman's body. And to be honest with you, I don't think a woman should be making decisions about my body.
Mhm.
Everyone needs to make their own decisions about their own body. You don't know what the reason is behind somebody wanting to get an abortion. You know what I'm saying? I understand that
Mhm.
you are pro life and ain't nothing wrong with that. Um, I do feel like every case is different. I'm adopted, so if my parents would have gotten an abortion, I wouldn't be even sitting here on this couch with you today. So I get it. Get that some people are able to adopt, but the foster care system is also fucked up. A lot of those kids don't ever
Yeah,
get adopted and they end up in the system and the system is not that great. Then you
right.
have people that end up with parents that really shouldn't have had children in the first place. And they grow up terribly as well. And all these trauma and all these issues get embedded in them from that. The welfare system is out
Mhm.
of control. It ain't just niggas on welfare. We all know that. The clears is on welfare too. So
Well,
let's
actually, the highest population of welfare recipients are white women,
yeah,
primarily in the Midwest, the
yeah, that's
South.
why I said the clears is on welfare too.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. So they get EBT and everything else, Section 8, all of that. Yeah, they're on it too. So, but all of
Mhm.
that stuff is it's saturated. Too many people are on that. So all of those numbers are going to increase with this,
Right.
you know, eh, them outlawing or trying to outlaw. I don't know if it's passed yet. Did it pass? Uh,
At the federal level, something passed, but it's like each state is interpreting things their own way. So it's still nothing is concrete as of yet. But it's each state. There's definitely movement. So each state is developing their own like level of like enforcement. They're trying to overturn Roe versus Wade. So I'm not sure. I don't have all the details. I just was recently reading about Oklahoma because theirs was so extreme. So theirs was so extreme. It just made me think of all kinds of. It made me think of what is that show on Netflix, Handmaid's Tale.
you love talking about that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I only watched one episode. I couldn't really get into it because it was like spooky to me. I'm out of
Yeah,
here.
that's.
But I
But
watched
it wasn't
one
far
episode.
fetched.
It wasn't
That
based
shit could
on
happen
this.
at any time.
Yeah, based on this. Yeah. So yeah, a little spooky. All right,
Um,
let's
Wait a second.
oh.
Before we get off
Mhm.
this, I just want to make another point. Um, my bro raised a good point. Black people, if you don't know how to shoot a gun, learn how to shoot a gun. I'm not going to
Oh
tell you
yeah.
to own a gun, but be prepared. Know how to use one. You need to know how to protect yourself at all costs.
Right.
Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I don't
Mhm.
care what color somebody is trying to come for your life, you need to be able to defend yourself. That's all I'm gonna say
Yes.
about that.
Agreed. For sure. Cause I definitely have a gun and I don't know how to shoot it. But I'm gonna learn.
That's not funny, but I mean, come on now. You done had this gun for a while. What's
Like
up?
at
We
least
need to go to
I
the
got
gun
it.
range.
We do. I got it during the pandemic
Okay, we
to
gonna go to the
protect
gun range soon.
myself.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
off
Cause
this
at this
shit.
point I
It
just
was
gotta wave
depressing.
it. I'm gonna wave it in the air. Oh
Switching
yeah.
gears. So Keisha Cole got a tattoo of the man she was dating, Antonio Brown. I don't know who
Mm.
Antonio Brown is. I don't care who Antonio Brown is, to be honest with you. But the point is, the girl got a tattoo of that man. And I don't know how you feel about getting niggas' name tattooed on you. I don't even know if you have any tattoos. You know, I have tattoos,
I
but
don't.
I, man, you know I done been goo goo gaga crazy over some penis. You know that.
Right.
But I know for once you have you have never ever thought, is Shay about to get a tattoo of this nigga name? Yeah, I know that ain't
Mm-mm.
never crossed your mind. I don't even think
Mhm.
about stuff like that. And the only time I could see myself doing that is maybe possibly a few years married, maybe. I don't like to say never because then
Where
you
is
look
the
like a fool when
tattoo?
you do some shit. I don't know what the tattoo is at,
Where
and I don't care. That's irrelevant. Why did you get
No, I
it?
want to know what her tattoo is of the guy.
Why did you get this man's name tattooed? It's his initials. And supposedly, or allegedly, I should say, he ended the relationship.
Damn. You know what? I don't even want my name tattooed on a person because I was with someone and they said they wanted to get my name tattooed on them, but they had other women names on them, and I said I didn't want to be part of roll call.
Oh, hell no.
Girl,
Like,
you was about to be a part of the checklist. Fuck a roll
and,
call.
and
All
he was
right.
like,
Got Cherry. She that's what you was about to be a part
No,
of.
no, no.
he was like, no, yours is going over my heart. I was like, no, I'm straight.
Yeah, nah, I
I don't
don't.
want to
I'm
be
not.
part of the scribe. Like, what are we
I'm not.
doing
I'm not with
here?
that. I'm not with that at all. I do have somebody's name tattooed on me, but it's my father.
Okay.
That's a whole
Aw.
different story, whole different
Yeah.
game. So nah.
Mhm.
Other than that, I've never, like I said, and I've been in love before. I've never been like, oh, I want to get his name tatted. Like that
It
just
never
don't do it
crossed
for
my
me.
mind. Yeah, it
Yeah.
never crossed my mind. But okay. So, I would like to introduce our topic, okay? Now, the topic is hypergamy. Okay? So, I have to explain what that is. Hypergamy is when you date for money or you date up, right? So, if you are low class in terms of socioeconomic level and you dated someone middle class or upper class or rich, that would be considered hypergamy. Most of the time, when people say hypergamy, they are talking about someone, a woman who is um, lower socioeconomic level and she's dating a rich guy. So, or she exclusively dates a rich guy, or she marries for money. Like her purpose is to get him a guy with money, right? S- So hypergamy is a whole thing. Like there are communities like on Facebook and all these different social media platforms. And in these forums, women talk to other women about what they need to do to attract these men, what they need to do to maintain them, and whether it's a boyfriend or um it's marriage. Um, as far as hypergamy is concerned, I don't feel like it's anything new because I mean, women have always been drawn to like financial security or, a smarter guy, more strength and money, but, also sometimes with intelligence can come money. So, those things can go hand in hand. So that is what hypergamy is, right? In theory, I understand. And as a businesswoman, I'm drawn to that, you know. However, I'm an emotional person. I have my own mind, and there are some pros and cons to hypergamy, right? So depending on who you ask. Um, One of the pros, of course, of hypergamy, if we're talking about just the financial aspect, is, of course, security, financial security, and not having to worry about, money or going to work because you're with someone who is gonna take care of you. One of the cons of hypergamy, in my opinion at least, is you have less of a voice because a lot of time in those situations, it's sort of like, it is usually your beauty that it draws those men, and it's more you have less of a voice and you're more replaceable because those men know why, you're there. They know you're there for that reason. So you're more replaceable. You have less of a voice. You're less um, valuable in a sense to
Girl,
those
you got
people.
less of a voice even if you date down sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean, it could be definitely. It could be. It definitely could be. Could be that. Because in theory, I can do it. But I've been in a situation. I'll give you this quick example. Then I want to hear your view on this. So I met a guy. This was years ago, but I met this guy, and he was really cool. We went out to eat. We had been kind of talking and everything. He had $1 million home right on the beach. Cool dude, right? We had great conversation. He said, "I like you. I want you to be my girlfriend. If you're my girlfriend, this is the amount of money you'll get every month. I need to see you at least twice a week, every week. If we stay together for 2 years, I'll buy you a car." Like in theory, it was like, hey, you know. However, it was quick. Like all that happened so quick, and I didn't know him. And I have to know a person to be comfortable like that, and not only that, like aesthetically, I was younger then, but aesthetically, he's not someone I would have like been naturally attracted to. So it really would have had to been more of an emotional connection for me to just like compromise and just be like, okay, and to me, he looked like Mr. Drummond. You know who Mr. Drummond is?
you know there's an age difference. I tell you that all the
Oh
time.
my
So you aging
God.
yourself.
Okay, you know who do you know who Webster is? You know who Webster
Yes.
was?
Yes.
Okay, the show Webster was on with the old white man. That's Mr.
That's Mr.
Drummond.
Drummond. Okay.
He
Okay.
reminded me of Mr. Drummond.
Get your money,
So I
man. Since you asked me how I feel about it, get your money, man. Call him.
could,
He have a yacht.
huh?
Did he have a yacht?
I don't know. I know he had about 6 cars.
See, you fucking up the bag. I mean, I know you get your own bag, but you know what I'm
I
saying?
don't have that
Like,
kind of money. Don't even. I don't have that kind of money.
you could have helped me. Call Mr. Drummond. That's what you need to do. That's your homework assignment for this
He was
week.
trying to move too fast. I was like, slow down, player.
um,
Yeah.
so whew, I think that's why I say people need to do what's best for them. I don't think there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with dating for money or dating up. A lot of us are tired of working.
Mhm.
We feel like we could be doing other things. Some of us want to just be homemakers or available for that man's needs, but half of these men that are talking like that don't have
Right.
the amount of money as Mr. Drummond does or did.
Right.
So it's a little different. I'm pretty
Right.
sure that I would give a lot less lip and probably none at all to a
Mhm.
Mr. Drummond. Um, so whatever floats your boat, I don't see anything wrong with it. Girl, if you find a man with the big, big bag, get it. Get it. That's what I say, get it.
Okay, I have a question for you then. So, one of the things that turned me off from Mr. Drummond, we're at dinner. I say grace over my meal. When I said grace over my meal, now mind you, he paid for the meal. When I say grace over my meal, he said, "You gonna pray to me too."
Oh,
Oh,
see,
hell
nah.
no.
You
Yeah,
get me?
but see,
I
that goes back to that whole thing that I brought up to you when I was
mhm.
like that guy was like, "You're for my pleasure and everything you
Mhm.
do is for my pleasure." That
Mhm.
mentality, but
Mhm.
I I understand why men with money think that way. This nigga didn't
Mhm.
have no money like that for him to even be trying to talk like that.
Right.
I still think there's a fine line. Especially, you don't even have to be religious, but
Right.
if you do pray, I'm pretty sure you're not praying to like I can't see myself praying to you because you did something for me.
Right.
It's just
That's crazy. Right. He said that. I was like, oh no, player. That ain't gonna work. I be sinning, but I ain't doing that kind of. That's crazy to me. So like
it,
that type of thing, like it's
it's like
like,
a master and slave
I
mentality.
mean, that played into it too because it's like, and he was white. So he said that, and it's like, I mean, but even if he had been a black man and said the same thing, like that's just it was disturbing to me. It was disturbing to me, and I just don't want to lose my like voice or power in the situation because of like some money. Speaking of that, one of
Damn.
the questions that came up about hypergamy is what's the line between like hypergamy and prostitution? Because some of the men
We all
who were
prostitutes. We all
you sound
prostitutes.
like Jasmine Sullivan.
We just prostitute differently. That's what I feel. We ain't walking the stroll. We ain't advertising, on the internet or
Well,
anything like
yeah,
that. But
everybody does want something. I mean,
yeah,
men too. They want something, But yeah, some of the men were saying, well, what's the line? What's the line between um you wanting to date up and you like doing whatever it takes to be able to be with someone who is, upper echelon or, that has more like money. But some of the things that were on these different platforms was kind of interesting about like how to attract these men and where to find them. It was interesting stuff. I was like, okay. It was
share
like,
some tea.
okay, so
So
one
the
of the things
listeners
is
out there that are interested in dating up, you know, they can
okay, so
know.
one of the things that it said was you have to be in the room. meaning you have to position yourself to be in the places that they are. That's why so many
Absolutely.
of these men will be with like the waitress, because guess what? They frequent that restaurant.
Right.
So you have to be in the room. So some of the places that they said for for you to frequent is whatever city you're in, find the business district, right? You find the business district, and around happy hour, you go to the local steakhouse. And they go there and they have their, old fashioned or their neats, and you go by yourself. You make sure you're looking nice and make sure you're not on your phone. And a lot of times you make eye contact, you smile, you make conversation, and a lot of times you will meet like the businessmen those type of setting in the business district. Every city has a business district. They have these steakhouses or upscale places, and they all have happy hours. So you go get you a filet mignon slider and slide some numbers, I guess. So,
You might
and
end
then
up
some of
sliding
the
your coochie across somebody's face too.
also of course golf courses. um a lot of times, I mean, especially in a place like California, you know people think it's events, these want to be ritzy events, but it's not those. It's the everyday life stuff. So like golf, the steakhouses, some other places
Wait
that
a
they
minute.
uh-huh.
My daddy be hanging out at the golf course.
But your daddy
What's
got
really
some
going
money.
on?
But your daddy got some money though.
I
So
know.
you kind of proving my
But
point.
that's I know.
Huh.
But he better take his tail home. That's what I'm saying. What you doing
Uh,
at the golf course, daddy?
He's swinging his stick.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that was the golf course. Also traveling, but with the travel, we have to be careful with that because all the black people want to go to the same places. So not those places. It's not at Tulum. It's not
Mhm.
Cabo, Cancun, or Tulum. Nowhere in the regular resort places
Shit.
in Mexico. All right. It's not on the Canadian border. It's the place a little further out, maybe, Paris, France, or Istanbul, like, part Africa be cracking. Everybody has this certain perception, but it's just as modern as here, and it's a lot of successful people and businessmen, and
Mhm.
Africa be cracking. So
Mhm.
traveling abroad as well. That's another thing that was brought up. So yeah, just expanding a little bit. The Kentucky Derbies, the some of the classics, those types of things. You know.
And let me add that you don't always have to have that look. You could still look good and not have the BBL
Yeah.
and the plastic surgery because there are plenty of women who have
Hmm.
successfully dated up without
Hmm.
getting that.
Right.
A lot of these men just want a warm body to keep it
Right.
100
Hmm.
and a warm mouth.
Right. Right. And
So,
there's
yeah.
some that can appreciate like a good conversation. They can appreciate a good conversation too. You have some that will can appreciate, a good conversation, someone who can have a real dialogue and deep discussion about different things. So yeah, it was very interesting, like seeing some of the things that were on there, uh different various platforms talking about hypergamy. Now some of the women in there are like sugar babies, but majority just seem like, everyday women who are just at a point where they don't want to be working 80 hours and want to be taken care of. So, like you said, I can't knock that. I don't like going working all those hours. It would be nice to be able to relax and just be a woman and be pretty and be soft and, go to
Exactly.
the spa. you know,
You just
all
your
that good
dinner
stuff.
is done and being served, and with your heels and your apron on and nothing else, and you're probably sucking dick as soon as he hit the
Oh,
dough, and you just have a little more time and flexibility to do all of that. That's just it's a little different when you're a working woman. You know what I'm saying? You
right,
might need a little recuperation period before you just get it cracking like that. You might have to order takeout. You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's just a little different, but that's neither here nor there. Um,
Hmm.
what's your thoughts about it? You down with it?
My final thought is, of course, I would love to have someone who is in a financial great situation, but I know myself, and it's important to me that my voice matters and that I can have a conversation and that I matter and that I'm not just interchangeable to any other woman that has the same parts. So for me, I need a little bit deeper than that, but I would love to have some money to, to not have to worry about money.
My
And
final
how about
thoughts
you,
about
Winsha?
it. Um, Lord, if you can close my mouth long enough for me to even be in the same room with a man like that, won't you do it? That's the first part. But I don't have any issues with that. Like I said, I'm all for people being happy, and a lot of us are not happy working, and men are technically supposed to be the breadwinners. A lot of them, say they want this uh old fashioned woman, and a lot of us are too modern, but a lot of us are too modern because we are out here getting that bag on our own with no help.
Right,
It's what we got to do. But
right.
I'm all for just being able to relax and tending to his
Hmm.
needs because he's definitely taking care of me. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Well, thank
All
you
right,
very
Sherry.
much for tuning in.
Yeah. I think
For
that was a
tuning in
good
this week.
episode.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
your host, Shay Butter.
And I'm Brown Sugar. See you next week.
Peace.